The Mario and Luigi series is officially back from the dead after half a decade of uncertainty on whether the series would ever get another game. And I've talked about this a little bit in the past, but particularly with the Paper Mario series and every single Mario RPG, or just any Mario game that wasn't a 3D Mario game, pretty much wasn't allowed to have any amount of creativity in it. And the Paper Mario series is the perfect place to look for what happened and what the downfall there was. In 2020, Kensuke Tanabe came out in an interview talking about Paper Mario the Origami King, and one of the questions that he was asked had to do with creativity and the different Mario series characters and originality and all of that. And he said that it was no longer possible for Mario characters that are pre-existing to be modified, which means they essentially could not take a Toad and give him a personality or give him a name. That Toad just had to be another Toad. And that was so apparent in Paper Mario Sticker Star, in which there were hundreds of Toads that all just went by the name Toad. None of them were really personalized except for maybe different colors, which had already been established in the previous canon of Mario, so of course that was fine. But no creativity, none allowed. It is no longer possible to modify Mario characters. Fast forward to 2024. We have Super Mario RPG as a remake, the SNES game that people have loved and adored for years and years, have begged for remakes. The character Geno, which has been, in the Smash community specifically, just hailed, like, please put Geno in Smash. There have been so many people who have wanted these series to come back in full form. And the Thousand Year Door was another one of those games that people, including Arlo, who had just pushed the charge for that, saying, remake the Thousand Year Door, bring back Paper Mario, bring back all of these different characters and different creative pieces that made the Mario series what we knew and loved. And Nintendo actually changed. They responded positively to this, and they did the unexpected. They released Super Mario RPG, they released the Thousand Year Door, and now, in just a singular year, the third Mario RPG game, and this one's a brand new game, Mario and Luigi Brothership. And it is absolutely crazy because you're looking at all these trailers, right? And in my reaction for the Direct, I was like, oh my gosh, this says so much about their new direction. This says so much about how they have changed in these past 4 years on their creative limits and all these different new things. Like, I was looking, there are like a million different NPCs, peoples, all of these different enemies. This game and this art style and this combat system is just oozing with creativity, and it's bringing it back from the series' roots. And I was so afraid that they wouldn't bring this series back, and if they did, it would be such a watered down version of it. But no, this game is oozing with charm and creativity, and it is exactly what people who have been begging for this series to come back, it's exactly what those people have wanted. And so many new people are going to be playing it now because guess what? It's on the Nintendo Switch. Quite possibly the most popular console of all time. And the sales numbers back that up. And so I am just incredibly excited to see this series back from the dead. But first, I want to look a little bit at its history because it is so improbable that this ever came back. And looking at all these different quotes from people like Miyamoto and Kensuke Tanabe and all of these different games that actually, followed through on those horrible creative limits, it's insane that we have Mario and Luigi Brothership coming out in just 2 months. So in 2003, Alpha Dream made Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga for the Game Boy Advance, and it was the first ever Mario & Luigi game in the series. It sold about 2.15 million copies and was a relative success for Nintendo. Moving forward, they knew that they wanted to continue with the series and having at least some of those games on their platforms because, hey, it's just more Mario throughout the year. It's more Mario in general because people love Mario, and if you see him, you're most likely going to just feel comfortable in it and know it and buy it because I imagine all of the moms, right, their parents or their dads or whoever, going through these stores thinking, oh, I got to get my kid a new game. And they look around and they see Mario. And in whatever shape, form, or fashion, they see Mario on the shelf. So they pick him up and they buy it because it's Mario. So more Mario throughout the year for Nintendo is always going to be a good thing. Unless the games somehow dip in quality and they just stop caring about the IP, which I don't see happening. But for now, as long as they stick with quality, more Mario is a good thing. And they kept that mindset for sure, because 2 years later on the DS, Mario and Luigi Partners in Time released. And it had a little bit of a dip, which makes sense in sales. 1.73 million, which is about, 3-4 million short of the 2.15. And hey, I get it, right? You have one series that kicks off with a game, and usually the sequel to that series game, or just continuing in that series, is going to dip a little bit because of interest and all of that. But then, 4 years later, Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story released on the DS and sold 4.56 million copies, almost 5 million copies, for a game about Mario and Luigi, not even developed by Nintendo's internal studios. That is a really, really big number. Nintendo had to have been excited at the possibilities that this meant. More Mario throughout the year. They could probably adjust their calendars to where everything from the 2D series, from the 3D series, now from this Mario and Luigi series, including the Paper Mario series, and all of these different Mario Kart, Mario spin-offs, Mario Party. They were probably frothing at the mouth at the idea of another massive success coming from the Mario series. But then things started to take a little bit of a turn. 4 years later, on 2013, Mario & Luigi Dream Team on the 3DS sold 2.7 million. Which is, hey, that is still really good. It sold better than the first two games in the series did, but only sold about half as well as their latest success. Then, in 2015, the downward trend continued with Mario & Luigi Paper Jam only selling about 1 million copies. And that game was really around the time when Mario creative limits started to take full effect for studios outside of the internal Nintendo EPD. And man, did people really talk about that a lot. It was around the Paper Mario Sticker Star and Color Splash era, the 2D Mario Burnout era of just the new Super Mario games. New Soup for the DS, New Soup 2, New Super Mario Bros. Wii, New Super Mario Bros. Wii U. It was too much. The saturation and blandness and just no creativity was just getting to people. And I could really see that in these sales numbers. And then 2 years later, they decided, hey, instead of making a brand new game like we did with the last one, let's try to do some remakes, get some people interested in the series again, and just kind of feel things out a little bit. So in 2017, yes, the year that the Nintendo Switch launched, they released Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga plus Bowser's Minions. So they remade the very first game in the series and added in all of this different extra content. But the platform they released it on was not the Nintendo Switch, the hot new thing on the market that everybody wanted. No, it was on the 3DS, because Alpha Dream had just been used to the 3DS at that point, and they were developing for that console. So they just stuck with the 3DS for whatever reason, and boom, 0.51 million copies. Couldn't even hit a million. Barely got over 500,000 copies. It was a flop. It was a flop. Alpha Dream at that point knew they were in sink or swim mode, and instead of just developing a new game for the Switch like I really believe they should have done, they continued with what they knew, what they were familiar with. They continued with the 3DS, and in 2018, they put all of their eggs in the basket of this last remake, Mario & Luigi Bowser's Inside Story plus Bowser Jr.'s Journey. Another remake plus a bunch of new content. It was such a heartfelt package of love for the series. But in 2018, no one was thinking about the Wii U, and no one was thinking about the 3DS. I'm sorry, no one cared. Everyone had just gotten their faces rocked by freaking Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and all of these massive open world games that could be taken anywhere on the go. The Switch hype was through the roof. The first year had gone as perfect as you could ever imagine a first year going for a console. And Alpha Dream stuck to their guns, and Mario & Luigi's Bowser's Inside Story plus Bowser Jr.'s Journey released and only sold 35,000 copies. That's right. Couldn't even sell 100,000. Could not even reach the 100,000 mark. No one, positively no one, bought this game. And if you are in this gaming sphere right now, a little bit outside of Nintendo, PlayStation just released Concord, which was one of their big new IP games they had been developing internally, spending millions and millions of dollars for over 8 years. And it released and was a massive flop, and only 24,000 units sold worldwide. So hey, at least Mario and Luigi's Bowser's Inside Story plus Bowser Jr.'s Journey could at least beat out Concord. That is the one saving grace for this game. It beat Concord. Good job, guys. So later that year, in 2019, Alpha Dream announced that they were going bankrupt because they could not pay off any of their debts due to the failure that were these remakes. And a lot of reasons are to why Alpha Dream fell and why the Mario and Luigi series went on a 5-year hiatus, and it has a lot to do with their vision and the creativity that Nintendo restricted from them. And putting this game on the 3DS and putting the other remake on the 3DS is a really big reason why this series didn't sell well, and honestly it might have been the best thing for it looking back now, but it was a failure nonetheless, and Alpha Dream suffered the consequences of their own decisions and of Nintendo's ramifications on creative limits. Now you would think in 2019 that Nintendo would say, hey, we are full on Switch. This is one of the best starts to a console's life ever. The sales numbers are through the roofs. The games are amazing. The hype is incredible. But they apparently, according to Imran Khan, had more 3DS plans in terms of games. Like, they were going to continue that 3DS ship. And it was super, super sad to hear about Alpha Dream. He says the Mario and Luigi games were on a decline, and the source mentioned to him that this year's Bowser's Inside Story remake sold so badly that Nintendo axed all their other 3DS plans because of it. Which, hey, I personally think that was the right decision. The 3DS was not keeping their ship afloat. The 3DS was not what they needed to put their resources into. But now, 5 years later, it is all okay because Mario and Luigi Brothership is coming out on November 7th, 2024, and actually, so many different Alpha Dream developers are going to be working on this. Nintendo brought them into their internal studios, and they are working on this game, so it really does have that series root to it. It's got that heart there. It's got those people who know what the game series is all about and what the gameplay is supposed to be like, and they are going to develop the heck out of this game, and it's going to be so freaking good. And the funny part is, I didn't just mention Concord to slam on Sony, as much as that is kind of funny to me, but still, I didn't mention it to slam on Sony. I mentioned it because at the time of this recording, I am adding this in now, the new Mario and Luigi trailer revealed that one of the areas is called Concordia, and everyone has been going crazy about that because Concord, it's the game that just flopped for Sony, and the game that sold less than literally the worst selling Mario and Luigi game, probably the worst selling Mario game ever sold, and now they're flexing on them. It's Concordia. So yeah, that was just so funny to me. And another thing about this that I had also mentioned in one of my direct reactions or discussions was how Kevin Afghani is voicing Mario and Luigi, and he sounds phenomenal. Can we just clap it up for Kevin Afghani and all of the new Mario voice actors, because in Mario Wonder last year he did an excellent job, and so did the new voice actor for Daisy. I cannot remember her name, excuse me, but I just want to point that out because Charles Martinet has moved to the role of Nintendo ambassador or a Mario ambassador, whichever one it is. And I'm just so happy to see him enjoying retirement from voice acting. And I'm so happy to see Mario continuing in his legacy and just having good voice actors. Now the thing is, the last thing I want to touch on before I end today's video is that Super Mario RPG Remake sold incredibly well last year because it was the first game back, and it was like a big thing and a big deal for the Nintendo community to say, hey, this game goes against all of these creative limits. What are you doing, Nintendo? And so many people bought that. I think it sold about 5 million copies, which is really, really good for a Mario RPG game. And then the Thousand Year Door came out this past April, and I think has only sold 1 or 2 million copies so far, which isn't the trajectory that you would want to see for that type of game. So this is the third Mario and Luigi Brothership. It's the third RPG in the Mario series coming out in the span of a year, and so I am a little bit concerned about the sales numbers of this game. I really, really hope that the Switch effect kind of takes over and makes it sell about 4 to 5 million copies. I would love to see it outsell the previous highest selling game in the series, which was Bowser's Inside Story for the DS, and I think that was at 4.56 million units. So if this game could get 5 million, that would be amazing, because it would show Nintendo we love creative games, we love creativity in Mario and new characters and all of this stuff. So I really do hope that they do that and that it sells well. But at the same time, in an era where Nintendo has planned out their game releases and planned out their calendar almost perfectly and flawlessly every year of its system, I think this might have been a little bit of a mistake to have released 3 Mario RPGs in the same year. And I just hope that because this is a new game and not a remake, that people go crazy for it, and because it's back from the dead, because Alpha Dream had gone bankrupt and the series has been gone for 5 years, I hope all of that hype goes in the face of people who say, this is the third RPG in a year. I really hope that this game succeeds. If it sold 1 to 2 million units, that would not be a good sign for Nintendo or this franchise or this series, because they probably would look at it and say, hey, it was a relative success, but we'll probably put it on the back burner for another while, and I just don't want that to happen. So yeah, I hope this continues. And I also hope that you enjoyed this video and that you will like and subscribe it, and that you would stick around to see more content, because hey, the Switch 2, it is coming soon, man. I believe in the September-October window, the reveal. I believe that within this next couple months that this Switch is going to be revealed, and we're going to see what the heck is going on, and I am going to cover every last bit of that. So if you want to stay up to date to all of the news, you want to stay in tune with what's going on and hear my opinions on everything, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below telling me what you think about Mario and Luigi being back from the dead, the series is revived, and how all of the Alpha Dream employees are back for this game, and how the Nintendo Switch has just apparently, towards the end of its life, gone against all of those awful rules that were set in place for Mario. Let me know all that and more down in the comments. Thank you for watching this video once again. I appreciate every single last bit of your support. My name is Ray, this has been Ray's Nintendo Talk, and I will see y'all in the next video. Have a great day.